Cryptolians and crypto crackheads, today is Tuesday, 4/20. Happy holidays, 2021, and you're about to get Timified. Although it's been over a decade since I've been in my glory days enough to utilize this as a holiday. Shit, if I tried smoking something now, I'd probably get freaked out. I probably wouldn't know. I'd probably be paralyzed, like curled up in a ball. That's how it is if you don't do something for a while, right? Anyway, hey, new viewers, this crypto channel does two things. And these two things is typically what other crypto channels are not doing. So this channel is geared towards retail investors or new investors who are new to the crypto space, who did not hang around all through the last bear market, 2018, 2019, 2020. If that describes you, your retail, hey, you're at the right spot. What I do here that other channels don't do for retail investors is, first, I show you how to click around with your money with the confidence that you are entering a statistically probable winning trade, although a lot of those trades didn't work out during a flash crash, right? But statistically probable, not statistically definite, right? So statistically probable winning trade. So the confidence, you know you've clicked around, hit buy, chasing green candles, and it drops on you, right? And it shouldn't be happening. And two, I show you how to take profits like a boss, so you're not buying and praying with some YouTube hype coin like Cardano or Omi the whole year and having weak gains. Do you want to be a buyer and prayer, or do you want to take profits like a boss and evolve into a profit pimp? If the latter sounds better, you're at the right place. All right, so if you stick around to the end, a couple videos will populate that will both help you essentially further navigate yourself into the crypto sphere and ideas on how to remain profitable within here. And if you happen to like what you see and you happen to subscribe, I have two rules for you. First is you need to let me know which crypto pronoun you have chosen, Cryptolian or Crypto Crackhead. And two, once throughout the bull market, if you get a 7-figure portfolio, please let me know about it in the comment section when that time comes, because I want to formally give you the title of Profit Pimp when that moment happens. All right, so Cryptolians and Crypto Crackheads, are you ready? All right, my beard was getting too itchy, so hopefully I won't scratch. Let me get a few scratches out of the way first. All right, hopefully I won't scratch too much now. All right, so yeah, that facial hair was getting itchy. All right, so Bitcoin right now, this looks like a pretty decent reaction, okay? So I have my midterm ribbons on. Patrons, you know what that means. Since other YouTubers are now using these, since I kind of set the trend there, but it's really good. I enjoy that other people use them because it's very good visual, especially for retail investors or professionals, really. It's really interesting to watch. So this looks like a healthy reaction on Bitcoin. This video will mix Bitcoin and alts. This will be a shorter video too. But anyway, what to look out for in this reaction? I would say two things. I would try to have a faster edge than the daily. So originally I said look for the candles closing above the daily. Since it dropped so fast and it's so far below the daily, I think to have a trading edge, you need to look at the 4-hour and the 2-hour, okay? And I've been saying that the last 2 days, or at least yesterday I said it twice. So fake outs to look out for is on the so I'm on the 4-hour with these short-term ribbons. Sometimes you can retrace up and then fail. Okay, so the ribbons, price did come above. The Stokes kind of looked like they wanted to reset, right? But when Stokes actually hit the white line, it was clear that they broke down below. So that's what to look out for, and you can do that on the 2-hour as well. Okay, even though non-patrons, I haven't showed you how to set these up, but so typically you want to wait until the 2-hour Stokes come all the way down to this white line to tell if it's a retracement that will fail or not. In a couple moments, this can fail you, especially if something like this happens. You could miss out on a lot of price action. So it never touched. It just kept going up. But guess what happened later? When it finally hit the white line, that was the beginning of it closing under, and then it fell. Like this rule works pretty well. And I kind of like the 2-hour on it. So the likelihood of this being a failed retracement is fairly high. You just don't know, though. You don't know how high or how strong this could react. So what I'm personally looking out for are two things. What I just stated, getting above the ribbons, and then the 2-hour Stokes coming all the way back down. And if they come down and price stays above kind of like it did here. So it came almost all the way down, and price stayed above the ribbon. The statistical likelihood of Bitcoin charging up and taking long positions, that like you're statistically likely entering a good long if you were to long at that point, especially if you wait till Stokes come all the way down and it's still showing strength above or inside of the ribbons. It could close inside of the ribbons too. So that's the first thing. The second thing I'm looking out for is on the RSI of the 2 hour, perhaps the 4 hour as well. I'll mix these thoughts. So the statistical probability of Bitcoin really being done correcting, like it's going up from here, is okay. You probably don't have house odds when it happens on the 2 hour, but the 2 hour, when the moving average of the RSI crosses above this white line here, okay? So when this white line crosses above this white line, and after it crosses, RSI comes down to check it, and then, so not just check it like here, because it could fall right back down, right? Checks it after it crosses this line and prints a positive slope after. That would be your first clue that, hey, I might start deploying some tether or taking on light leverage longs, even though for retail investors, I don't suggest any leverage to you at all. Okay, I don't suggest it. There's so much money in small caps that I don't suggest it. If you've been trading for over a year profitably without leverage, okay, maybe. But it's a good way to lose all your money. But anyway, so for people who've been, doing this for a while, if you're trying to play around with leverage, that would be an okay time to set pretty nice stops, tight stops, take on. And then if after that happens and the 4 hour does the same thing with the RSI, which would happen a little later, then I think you have official house odds that the correction is done. But then again, you want to wait till RSI is, it'll probably be above it at that point. You want to wait for it to come down to its white line and then go up. Okay, you want to at least tick up once. So after the moving average here, this white line crosses here, and RSI, the green line here, it's above it, comes down to check it, and bounces up. That would be, I would say you have like 70% odds that price is not going to come back down. However, so those are the two things on the bullish side that I would look out for as my clues in terms of trying to be the house here and having a very statistical probable trade. However, just remember, it is really important to know that the 2 hour RSI, the Stokes, you really don't know if it's going to hold until those Stokes truly hit this white line. Could you miss out on a lot of price action as it doesn't? Yes. But guess what the freaking happened right after it did finally truly hit this white line? Shit tanked, right? So, how much price action would you have missed out on? Only 4 days. So this could happen, right? And it could just continue going up. But the likelihood of that happening is kind of low. Like this rule applies pretty well. All right, so that's the bullish stuff. However, on the bearish side is this. Typically on the 2 hour and the 4 hour, you almost always have 3 drives down. It's just like kind of like a bearish bearish divergence on the RSI and price typically has 3 strikes, 3-strike rule, even on the daily, the 4 hour, all that stuff, particularly the daily and the weekly. Look, 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strike, or drives. This only had 2 drives down. And this is the 4 hour chart on Bitcoin. So if it doesn't have, so here it didn't do it. So here it just, honestly, you didn't have a chance to follow this other rule on the 4 hour because the Stokes never came down. That was just really bullish. That was a strong move up. So that rule would not have worked here. Let's try it on the, so did it work on the 2 hour? Yeah, so it got above it. So it would have worked on the 2 hour. Yeah, not on the 4 hour though. So maybe 2 hours is the right one to use for these ribbons instead of the 4 hour using the 2 hour Stokes here. Because it did print down here and it was closing pretty safely. But anyway, so even on the 2 hour, you typically have 3 drives down. Look, 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drives. So I guess you did have the drives here. I apologize. It did have 3 drives. I just didn't look farther enough left. And we don't have those drives. You can use that on the 2 hour, the 4 hour. They behave pretty similarly on the chart, okay? So here, 1 drive, kind of 1.5, 2.5 drives. You might count this at 2, but even if it does this, you want at least 1 drive lower and with RSI to stay above here for bullish divergence. So honestly, a bullish scenario here is that Bitcoin does fail this retracement comes back down to about here, or hell, even here, okay? It could come down all the way to 50. But on the 2-hour and the 4-hour RSI makes a higher low like this. That would probably be it. That would be enough to convert enough sideliners and sellers into buyers. And it would probably hit it at 50. Because you got the origin line there, you got a horizontal there. I mean, look how like this is a strong horizontal. So if you get a strong reaction off here and the 4-hour and 2-hour have bullish divergence, honestly, I would bet it doesn't go any lower. And I wasn't saying these things. I thought it was more likely it would go below the go below here and go, you know, potentially go all the way down to like 45 or 40,000 bucks. But I'm changing my tune now, because when I was saying that, I was missing what I found on accident in my video the other day. I did not know the weekly. Gosh, I'm gonna sneeze. I did not know the weekly. It rarely happens to me where I get fake out sneezes. Is there a chart for sneezes so I can anticipate when it's going to come? Anyway, I did not know. This cross was going to happen. All right, finally got that in. So instead of itchy and scratching, I'm sneezing. So when I was saying that stuff, thinking that this was all probable, I didn't see this coming. All right. So honestly, as now all YouTubers are now eyeing what I was previously eyeing, I think these are still very, very likely. You know, double digits, 10 to 20% potential likelihood that it comes down to one of these 3 points, right? To this, or to that. I think each of those might, you know, are over 10% chance, which are strong chances. I'm not very confident with my saying which ones are most probable or not. But I think it could be. I honestly, at this point, I might be leaning towards it. Bitcoin hitting 50K and then rebounding like a mat, like just booking it up after that to avoid this cross. I think, I don't know. I'm not confident in saying that's the most probable, but it damn sure might be tied for the most probable right now. If I didn't know any better, I would try to lean actually towards this quite heavily, but I want to see how these, I want to see the reaction. I want to see that third drive down. I want to see some bullish divergence. And what I anticipate going to happen is this. It's not going to do very well. But anyway, so if I could take this line and this line, right? I think something like this. I think something like that, they'll ride, and then separate. And so this EMA, so this thick line, the bold line staying on top. I think something like this will happen. And in order for that to happen, Bitcoin will probably hit that line, hit the origin line at the same time, and race up. Not all in 1 week, but, I mean, could be. And honestly, that could all happen in 1 week. So kind of like what I was saying in one of my I think my last video or one of the videos yesterday, I think this week might be one of the most volatile up and down weeks that Bitcoin has seen in a long time on a percentage basis. You can't top on a percentage basis what was happening like during like the bear market as all that volatility has happened when Bitcoin is only $3,000 on a percentage basis. I don't think Bitcoin can ever top that. But in recent history, since let's say October 2020, this could end up being the most volatile one, down and up. I mean, making new highs, literally, like in a week. It could happen. Now, would I think that is probable? No, but it might do something like this, close the doji next week, going bam, like the next week making all-time highs. In order to avoid this, that might be my top choice right now, but I'm not confident in saying that. So what I would say is I'm on the lookout for all four, okay? So that is my tune on that. So, okay, what I want to do with altcoins, I want to do a little differently. I don't want to do buy points, sell points, because everything's just fucking bloody, right? I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that word. And I don't have time to edit that out. But anyway, yeah, I try not to use the F-bombs on video. But yeah, it was the appropriate time to say it. It is freaking bloody, right? But what I want to go over is this. So kind of like I was going over tiers of possibilities with Bitcoin, I want to do that with altcoins. So from one of my from the live VIP live chat today, I was realizing there are 3 classes of coins right now. Okay, all of which could be actually four. One, the fourth one being super weak. 4 classes of coins. Let's start off with the weakest, less exciting ones. Ones that if you were trying to buy something super low, that your money might be tied up there longer than you think. And honestly, one of the coins I tried to buy to do it is one of them. Credits. Credits is the 4th tier. This is weak. Unfortunately, I bought the wrong one. It is closing below both its 21 and its 10. So coins that are below its 10 and closing candles under it, that's the 4th tier. That is what you don't want to see. So a lot of new people, they think, oh, but it's so low, it's hitting a horizontal. Who cares? It's probably going to be stuck under here for a while, and then we'll have to close several weekly candles on top of the 10 before it takes off. Other coins are going to take off way faster. So why don't you try to find coins that are going to take off way faster, like double, potentially double your money, and then buy credits when it's still here, weeks later, right? So if you want this, if you want more credits, I would wait, like personally, not financial advice for me, I would wait to buy credits and try to put it in something that is a higher tier. All right. The other tier is something like West. So West versus Bitcoin particularly is doing almost the exact same move both MTV and Silo did. They were experiencing a cross on the daily, all right? So this cross essentially, but seeing on the weekly here, it was playing a cross, came back down, fell into the cross, and was closing right around or right above its weekly 10. And then you know what happened from there on both of those coins. It was freaking moon time. So this class I would call is at the bottom of its chart still, but behaving normally. Behaving normally at the bottom of its chart. So not closing below its weekly 10. So honestly, that's a good class to take a look at. So look how MTV did. Had its cross, fell back into it, moon time, right? Silo, same thing. So that coin is now not in that class, right? Because it already happened. But West would be in the classes. But I'm trying to show you what happened after it. After that happened to MTV. Silo, same thing. It did what West is doing now. See, the exact formation got rejected from the weekly 21, came down to 10, blast off. And look, that is what West is doing. See that? So the third class is bottom of the charts, but looking strong and not strong. I wouldn't say that looks strong. Looking normal. Potential blast off opportunities, but not definite, because it could fail and start closing below its 10. Who knows? But as of now, that's that class. There are several of the coins out there doing that. I can't remember all which ones. Okay, so the number 2 class, moving up the ladder, are coins that are not close to their bottom. Actually, no, Bolt's another one that's doing that. Look. So viewers, I am really sorry. I missed this on Bolt. And it's not a bad thing. It just, I should have known to look out for this, that it could take more time than what I was thinking. Look, this, as I've done, like last week's video, right? I even went over one of the major plays in all of crypto is you have the cross, it gets rejected by the weekly 55, comes back down and tests the cross. That's exactly what's happening. So when you all see me like looking at a coin only on the US dollar pairing and it has a Bitcoin pairing, you need to yell at me call me out on YouTube. Like, I'm not one of those people with like a very, even though I'm, get slightly arrogant and, I get cute back to people who leave cute comments. Because most of those comments, I can tell you don't know much about what you're talking about. But I still like that stuff. I like people dissenting because I'm one of those people too. And when I was younger, I probably did it when I didn't know much about what I was talking about too. So I kind of like that stuff. That's why I don't delete those comments or block it. I think it's fun. But anyway, if you, call me out. If you see me not looking at something on the Bitcoin chart as you need to tell me. I missed this. I'm sorry. If I had looked at it, I would have said, wait, be careful with Bull. This could easily have 2 weeks of correction and then 1 week of settling above it and then takes off. And I could have literally guessed second week of May. I would have been able to do that. Instead of saying any moment now for 4 weeks. I would have been able to say this. But I just failed to look at it. All right. So if you see me doing that in the future, you need to tell me. Right. And I will thank you, right? You're not going to be embarrassing me. No, I mean, hell, you can say, hey, you know, you can even call me dumbass. Hey, dumbass, you're not looking at the Bitcoin pairing. Like, yeah, that's fine. Like this will help everybody, you know, especially if you have a basis for what you're saying, you know, a little bit about what you're talking about. Call me out. Hell yes. Y'all should have called me out on this. I missed it. Okay. Kind of like I missed Viacoin, you know, looking bullish on the Bitcoin pairing. I was just so stuck. And look, it freaking had the cross. I know to buy the cross. What the hell is wrong with me? And it just flew past its weekly 55. Damn, this is strong. And it's probably going to stay strong. I don't think it's going to come back down. Yeah, it already got down almost to that horizontal at $1.20. I don't think it's going to do it again. I think it's done. This looks really strong, folks. Yeah, like look at the dollar. Just for a hot minute, it went down to $1.26. I think that's it. I think this candle will close above that candle in this candle. I'm almost certain of it. Do I think it'll break this? No, but I think next week will. I think next week this is breaking $2.40 land. This looks strong. Now, would I change my tune if Viacoin changes its tune and proves it's actually going to range? If it gets rejected and starts printing deep, like daily candles, yeah, I would say, okay, it'll come down here or fail and come down to this line finally. It could. It still has a decent chance to do it. But as of now, this posture is strong. And I think the most likely situation is this week closes above those other two, above that wick or right at that wick, and the next week goes up. Yeah, I think that's the most probable. Is that like 80% chance of happening? No. But if I had to make a bet, I would bet on that happening. And I think it would have house odds, not huge house odds like you win 9 times out of 10 or anything. But yeah, but you would definitely want to look out for this to happen. Okay, so the number two, got off track. The number two class of coins are coins like DPPT, which are not at the bottom of its chart, right? So near the top, that are behaving normally. This is essentially behaving completely normally. Okay, one that isn't, that I'm not putting a class to, like this is like the limbo class. It was not at the bottom, it was at the top, and it's not. So it is being affected by this tip. I think though, even though I won't have a class for this one, I think the primary reason is because the weekly 10 isn't visible here. If it had its weekly 10, I really don't think it would have come down this far. But the only thing, in terms of the three groups of people out there, sideliners, buyers, and sellers, since the weekly 10 didn't exist, all you had was horizontals in order to turn both sideliners into buyers and to turn sellers into sideliners. Or actually, I did that backwards. In order to turn sellers, like causing this to come down, and it would have hit its weekly 10, for example, like that, in order to turn sellers into sideliners, and then it cools its tits, and after it, closes above the 10, those now sideliners would become buyers. And this circle could not happen without the 10 being there. Therefore, it could only play horizontals. So in order for these sellers here to stop selling and become sideliners, and before they came sideliners, for current sideliners, before these people join them, for current sideliners to become buyers in this circle, right? In order for this to happen without the weekly 10 there, since it's too young to show it, you just had these horizontals. And one of the clearest ones was this. So I think its weakness has a technical explanation behind it, but still, it's weak. That's weak. And honestly, I don't think I would have had a way to anticipate that. Statistically, likelihood, like it breaking way past this horizontal, I thought if it would have broken this, it would have stopped here, maybe done a wick down to this wick here, maybe wicked to here, and then settled here at 46 cents. That's what I would have guessed. And I think that would be most statistically, I think that probably would have happened if the weekly 10 were visible here, right? So I don't feel sorry for missing that one. That one's a tough one. But I think that's the market psychology behind it. It was playing, it only had to play horizontal. So that's its own like limbo class. So I'm not putting a class to that. But anyway, DAPPT is like your second class of coins here that I'm seeing that are not at the bottom. So they're somewhere in the middle or the top, and they're behaving perfectly normally. They're not super bullish and strong like Litecoin, and they're not being greatly affected by the dip like IDEA is, okay? OLT is kind of... OLT honestly might be in that fourth tier, unfortunately. No, that's behaving pretty normally. So I would say this is the third tier. It got rejected from, a trend line, came back down and it's crossed. So yeah, that's pretty normal. Yeah, I would put OLT in the third class, IDEA in the limbo class, unfortunately. Am I giving up hopes on IDEA? Hell no. Hell, if I had some extra free money, I'd probably buy some more. Not financial advice. I'm talking about myself, and I'm not a financial advisor, but I am well shaven. All right. Anyway, so okay. Yeah. So that's the second. So DAPPT is kind of like the second class. The first class. So the reason I'm putting these classes is, if you're trying to place your money somewhere, you have to balance the thought. Long-term ROI, okay, right? So catching stuff like West near the bottom where it could like really start taking off just as everything that has done that formation has, right? Or even OLT, like everything that's hit this formation has really taken off afterward. So you got to mix that thought with the idea of things that are strong now are likely going to take off before these do. Even though these will likely take off, maybe I should try deploying my USDT in the strongest coins that are totally ignoring Bitcoin's fall, because they're probably going to scream first, and then I can take profits and then move it into whatever I really wanted to buy, whether that's West or LT or whatever the case, right? But I would strongly suggest not being very wary of purchasing anything that is closing candles below its weekly 10, right? I would just be very hesitant of that, and you need to think about that because you can tie up your money a long time. So anyway, so that's what's going on through my mind. Where am I going to place my money? Do I just want to kind of relax and buy something that is acting normal that it might blast off later, or do I want to go more aggressive and try to time it? Okay, so in the first class is something like Viacoin. It is ignoring this drop. It is staying strong as shenanigans. MHC. Or no, VeChain. Even a little stronger than Viacoin. Not by much, but it is. Okay? And so, I mean, this is half clickbaity, what I'm doing here with the title, because I am planning on putting this in the title here. But I sincerely did want to talk about VeChain. I'm going to take back something I've said. Okay? So I'm not stubborn with my ways. If I have a reason to change my previous opinions, I do, right? I don't think I had merit for dissing VeChain about being a hype coin. Because it does not say it in the charts. And I'm one who strictly says, I don't need your freaking news. I can see it in the charts. And I honestly think that this is the best graph in all of crypto. I think it's the best chart in the whole space. By far. Maybe not. There are a few really good ones. But I think this is the best chart. So I take back my VeChain bad words. Okay? I'll give myself, my wife will whip me later as consequence. Yeah, so I formally take back what I said about VeChain. This is the best chart in all of crypto. Okay? All right, VeChain nerds. Am I going to buy VeChain right now? No. It's too hot. I would want to see it. Honestly, the trend is it's playing its daily 10. I would bet on playing the daily 10, unless I saw nasty bearish divergence, but there is none. Yeah, I mean, honestly. So something strong like this, if you wanted to try to buy whatever the trend is, so here it's the daily 10, you would probably get a better ROI quickly to take profits in that before you moved it into something that is in a different tier, is what I'm trying to say here. You're more likely to make money more quickly here. Maybe not huge ROI, but you can grow it by 50%, 35%, and then buy more of whatever else you wanted to buy, right? So in terms of deploying your money, what to do first, how to time things, I think these 4 tiers of coins, their behavior, I think like they will each go up at different times. And I think the higher the tier, the faster it's going to move. Perhaps the lower ROI potential overall, you know, but the by far the highest ROI potential within the next 4 weeks. That's kind of what I'm saying here. So if you want to try to time this stuff, I would try to view whatever coins you're interested in. Try to see which tier is it in, okay? Is it like closing below its 10, and is it the fourth tier that's weak? Is it at the bottom of the chart but still acting normally, perhaps ready to blast off in 4 weeks or so? Is it at the top of its chart, you know, made all-time highs, kind of testing its all-time high, or maybe not all-time highs, but close, right? Maybe something like MTV is also in this third tier. You know, it's up high on its chart. It's behaving perfectly normally. So that's the third tier as well. And the third tier could take off pretty fast too. Or is it something like strong as crap, like Viacoin, VeChain? There were 2 others that we did. I think Trias. Yeah. I mean, look at this crap. That's really like above its daily 10 too. Like these coins are strong. I think Toko was another one that was super strong. Not quite as strong. So this one's more behaving, I don't know, this is between class 1 and class 2. This is behaving normal, but strong normal during a massive bloody dip. So I would put this at tier like 1.5, like somewhere between there. But still, that's strong for what's going on in the market. What tier is VRA in? VRA is tier 2. It's acting pretty normally. It doesn't look like it's being very affected by the dip. So I would put Veracity in tier 2. That looks not bad. And it honestly might hold this line of 3.3 cents as support. Do I think it will? No, I really think it's going to want to come down and test this. It might be like kind of an even split. What's most probable, whether it's going to come down to 2.77 cents or whether it's going to hold the line at 3.3 cents. I don't think it'll wick somewhere in between. I think it's going to stay at that will be one of the best places to buy in retrospect once Veracity starts going up. Veracity doesn't look bad. It's not being affected by this, right? So that's tier 2. So what you want to be thinking as you are playing around and clicking with your money, right, is you always want to keep in mind the 5 things. What are the 3 most probable 2 what ifs? If this were to break support, while Bitcoin's falling, if it's clear support and it's statistically likely it stays above it, I need to be prepared for if Bitcoin tanks one more time down to 50. If my coin were to break that support, what is next? What is the next logical spot? And maybe I should be prepared, maybe get some at the horizontal that makes sense now, and maybe be prepared to buy some at this next one, or just all the way in between, like orders between those two, just to hedge your bets, right? Like to stratify between those two. Even though those might never be filled, who cares? They might be filled, right? Because it's happening a lot. A lot of stuff is breaking support and going down to what's next. And what's next is often the weekly 10 EMA. That's below whatever horizontal support it would have held had Bitcoin not flash crashed. So you need to continue thinking those normal things as cryptillions and crypto crackheads. But in order to take profits like a boss and really capitalize in order to maximize your profits, one of the ways to tweak the knobs and really optimize how much profit you make is how you deploy it and in what order. And I think it's really important to start thinking about this in terms of those tiers. I think one of the safest bet might be focusing on tier 1 and 2 for now, honestly. And then trying to take profits quickly, as long as you're not trying to hold those forever. Utilize those as a tool to get the fastest gains possible. You know, perhaps 100 bag it at 30% up or 40% up, not trying to double necessarily, but you're almost 1.5xing your money. And then when you take the profits, then you kind of look at, okay, well, if I like OLT or if I like West, is it ready to move or not? If not, if it's still chilling and kind of like closing candles just above its weekly 10, doesn't look ready to blast, well, go try it one more time. You know, go find another tier 1 or tier 2 coin that looks like it's ready right now. Oh God, what was that other? There was one coin that looked like it was getting ready to blast. Damn it, what was it? Was it DAO? It was one of them. Why can't I find this? Yeah, it was Dow. Yeah, honestly, like, this one looks ready to make all-time highs. So this is kind of like what I'm thinking of. Even though I'm not suggesting buying this coin, I don't know much about it, but this looks really ready. Perhaps even more ready than ViaCoin and VeChain, because VeChain looks like it wants to come down to its 10. So kind of deploying it in something that looks ready now, even though you don't give two shits about this, right? Like, you know, you don't know much about it, you don't want to hold it forever, but you want to take profits at, let's say, 37% up. 100 bag it there, go see what other coins you like. If they're not quite ready because they were in tier 3 or whatever, then go try to find another one that's in tier 1 or 2 that looks ready. Go do it again, take profits, 100 bag it, and then go check back up. Try to time this right. So there's a lot of money making opportunity right here, and I think that might be among the best ways to do it, assuming you're not trying to use leverage and lose all your money as a new trader. I highly suggest you don't do it. And plus, you know, if you want to use leverage, you will be glued to the screen a lot more. It's a lot more stressful. It's way more stressful, I'm telling you, especially if you're not a practice trader. It's very stressful. You're going to be on your phone looking at it. Like if you have kids, like you're going to be looking at your phone while they're crawling on you. You got to constantly be moving your stops. I'm telling you, unleveraged trades, you know, it's being down 15, 20% like I am on OLT. You know, after I entered at a statistically probable winning trade, Bitcoin flash crashed, it fell through. But I can just take a nap for 6 days and I'm going to be break even or better, right? So that's the plan. All right, so that is what I have for you on the altcoin market. So taking a look at Bitcoin one more time before we close up. Guys, I really just don't know what the hell is going to happen with Bitcoin. So be prepared for all these potentials. My gut right now is saying Bitcoin will avoid that weekly cross. So it's kind of weird that I was the most bearish now that everybody else is kind of, not everybody. One of my mentors is not. I actually, my analysis right now, I'm leaning towards what he's leaning towards too. So, and you all know who I'm talking about. Even though he disses me a little bit, I really like his channel and he's educated me a lot. And that's why he's in my description section. But I think he's done dogging my channel, so especially after this dip turned out to be what I was sort of talking about. So, but it does, yeah. So I think I'm changing my tune. I'm gonna lean slightly towards this. I think 50K will create bullish divergence, and then it'll scream up. And I think 40K, 45K, 46K will be out of play. And this would still satisfy the theory that the exchanges don't allow people to long that 21 moving average, right? They don't allow people, the people who know of origin lines, to long this. It's going to stop just before it. So it would still satisfy that theory of the exchanges trying to avoid paying people too much. I'm not leaning strongly towards that, but my gut is telling me to. But I don't have technical reasons to lean that way. I just knew a cleansing needed to happen. And I think that might have been it, folks. The exchanges got their money. And if you think about it, exchanges, well, they're not going to continue making a ton of money by, you know, by trying to suppress Bitcoin price, by tanking, you know, by selling a lot of Bitcoin on the market. They're going to make more money if it goes up now, because they're probably buying it right there. Like those Coinbase execs, I bet they were buying the crap out of Bitcoin right around 51K. I almost guarantee it. So I am leaning a little heavily towards the upside. But I think it wants to give away. It might not even hit 50. It might not need to do it. It might find something like this. So something around here. So that would satisfy the third drive theory. But if it touches 50K, I think it'll be on a wick and on a daily wick, and I think it'll close a lot higher. Like perhaps like close within its current range. So be prepared. And what does that mean for Litecoin and stuff? Because I know a lot of, I've been telling people I'm looking to enter a long position on Litecoin. Not nearly as low as what I was thinking. Litecoin might not even come back down to 234. Because it's already been rejected by this origin line. It's gone past it, come back into it. That might be it. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to play my Litecoin long right now. I want to see how this week closes, and then I'll update patrons especially on that. But I don't know. I think the dip might be over, folks. I know it's weird to change your tune, but you can't be scared to change your tune. If you have reasons to change, then freaking change what you're. Don't be stubborn and like say, I was saying 40K a while ago. Now everybody's talking. I'm sticking. No. I think I'm changing my tune. Not super confidently, okay? So that's what I got for you. You just got typified. Only one video today, so that's it. We'll see you tomorrow.